Let me introduce our next speaker. I hope Bhuvaneshwari has joined us.
Yeah, she is.
Yes.
Yeah, could you please come on? Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Sundar.
Cool.
So able to hear me clearly, right?
Sorry?
Able to hear me clearly?
Yes, of course. And we can see you as well. Yes, of course. Our next session is on an approach to DevSecOps. That's something that is inseparable, I think, when we say DevSecOps. It's an area of interest as well for almost all of us at the ATA volunteer group. I hope we are going to learn a lot from this session. So to introduce Bhuvaneshwari, and Bhuvaneshwari, thanks for joining us. She has a lot of experience in the non-functional testing domain. She has about a decade of experience in it, so to speak. She's an expert in estimation and planning. We would love to hear more about estimation and planning as well, maybe in a later session at ATA from you, Bhuvaneshwari. She also has expertise in all things performance testing, including monitoring performance and looking at the bottlenecks, especially on a production instance, and automate everything on the DevOps pipeline. So we have the right expert here to talk about DevSecOps. Over to you, Bhuvaneshwari.
Thank you, Sundar. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And thank you for giving me this greatest opportunity to present my area of interest in this wider forum. So hope everyone is able to see my screen, see my presentation.
Yes, we can see it, Bhuvaneshwar.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the confirmation. So, so here we are. I'm going to talk about an approach to DevSecOps. So, like our area will be like these are all our area which we are going to talk about today. It's like what is DevSecOps, why we have to go for DevSecOps, and what are the principles that we have for DevSecOps, and how we can embed that security into each phase of DevOps, and what are the tools that are available so that we can take its help to implement our DevSecOps, and what one sample approach that we have on for DevSecOps. So let me quickly talk about DevOps before we go into DevSecOps. So DevOps, which we all know that we have, which is a very modern approach to the IT industry, and we almost every one of us have started implementing it. We started harvesting the fruitfulness of DevOps, and we have had very good amount of benefits out of DevOps, like faster deployment, faster problem solving abilities, minimal cost of production, and we have significant improvement of product quality, which altogether allows improved performance of an organization itself. So that's how DevOps helped us in many ways. So where current in the current situation, we have to also have to concentrate on security. It's not only at the end of a product life cycle, it has to be the security has to be embedded in each and every phase of a product life cycle and a software development life cycle. So that's how we have to have a DevSecOps. DevSecOps, it's again a shift in the software industry that gives us a seamless integration of security in the rapid release cycles that we accommodate via modern development technology. We have DevOps. So here in DevOps, we introduce security in very early stage and also in all the stages of a software development life cycle. So it really going to give us the full advantage of DevOps along with security. It is going to be a combination of security plus with DevOps, which is called DevSecOps. So it is going to give us a seamless advantages. So in continuation to that, so earlier when why we have to like we are in urge of adapting DevSecOps. Yeah, we had releases in a larger cycles, larger days, maybe in month, yearly or quarterly releases we had, but not now after adapting this agile and DevOps practices. We have release cycles in days, like even weeks or days. So where we have in this particular situation, in this rapidity of development life cycle situation, we need to adapt the security at the same speed. So for on that case, we definitely need to go for DevSecOps. So with that, if we adapt the DevSecOps, we have to know the platform, and we need to know the tools, we need to know the uh, uh, know the requirements where we can adapt the security along with DevOps in a seamless manner, so that it can be implemented from right from the design phase till integration, testing, deployment, and every phases we can implement it. So by adapting this DevSecOps approach, we may harvest, we definitely harvest the fruitness of DevOps along with security. So these are all the kind of principles or keynotes that we have to follow. So that the approach we designed to implement DevSecOps is like it have to integrate the security across all the software development life cycles. That is very much important, and it have to have the security policies written according to our need, and it have to have the automated security features. Then only we can go with the flawless DevSecOps approach. And we have to have all the verified and approved tools, and we have to have a vulnerability check at all the components, and we have to enable the configuration scans at configuration level, and we have to enable the security of access, and we have to continuously monitor and manage, and we have to secure our access as well as the networks. So coming to our DevOps phase, where we have embedded the security at each phase. Right from planning phase, we have until we monitoring phase, how we can embed security. So at planning phase, what we have in account of security. At planning phase, we will come up with a threat plan. So in coming minutes, we will be discussing how this can be done, what it is in high level. So, and then when coming to coding phase, we have to do security check at code level. And then when we come to build phase, we have to do SAST. And when we come to testing phase, we have to do dynamic applications resist testing, DAST. And when we release software, we need to securely release it. In the release mode have to be very secure, like digital sign, and we should have some access and configuration management over there. And when we deploy it, we definitely have to do a security scan. When if at operations level, if we have any issues identified, we may have to go for a security patch if required. And then when we have the monitoring phase, we have to continuously monitor and analysis, and we have to take actions according to it. So in that case, how we can select tools to embed security in our DevOps pipeline. So what are all the properties those tools can have, how the the tools which we choose or the method which we choose doesn't affect our rapidity of DevOps. It should not actually time consuming part in our regular DevOps pipeline. So it should be closely integrated with the existing approach. So in that way, how we can, what are the properties, the tools that we are going to choose for choose should have. It should be like the tool or the policy that we are going to choose should have, like, it should minimize the risk in development pipelines. It should not be an additional overhead, and it should not slow down the velocity of the CI/CD pipeline we have, and it should help us to detect and fix the security vulnerabilities then and there, and it should support the security teams to oversee. There we should not have much manual intervention at every phase. So it should handle the situation. It should either it to be a reporting, either it to be a fixing. It should handle automatically. There should be a very minimal manual intervention. So these are all the very few properties that I have listed here. So when we come to each phase, how each phase of DevOps will embed security, what kind of tools or artifacts that we can use in each phase in according to security. So when we come to a planning phase, there itself we will create a plan where the plan have to consist of where, how, when the security testing will be done. At the places where the security issues were anticipated. So while planning for a software development itself, we have to plan for a security aspect as well. So that's the impact of security at a planning phase. So for this purpose, we may have a Jira board or Iris Risk, something like that. And when we come to coding phase, so it is highly important that security practices at code phase, it can have static code analysis, or we can have code reviews like pre-commit hooks. So which is highly important phase for security. The code phase also includes, like, we can use like check style, Gerrit, spot bags, PMD kind of stuffs. Next, when we come to build phase, we have to automate the security analysis. We have to get the security related artifacts when it is required. We have to automate the system. Each and every component of that particular software is analyzed, and we do SAST, static application software testing. So for that also we have some set of tools like SonarQube, SourceClear, Checkmarks, Sync, Retigase. Next, when we come to testing phase, so this typically where we do our testing, security testing as well. So here we have to do testing in a manner, dynamic application security testing tools. Like we have to detect any flaws, like any unauthorized access is allowed. We have to take care of the authorization and any injection is like SQL injection and other any API related endpoints that are accessing in any unauthorized accesses are there. So we have to try and test it, like how we do in our security testing phase. So that's how we do here. Like we have very known like IBM AppScan. So when we come to release phase, so while releasing the software is also we have to consider focus on the security of the runtime environment, like any the kind of access level we have given to the users at that environment, the firewall access and the secret data management that we need to do at release phase, and we need to go for certain benchmarks like CIS benchmark or NIST benchmark. We have to have all these checklists to be verified, and we can have like Ansible, Puppet, HashiCorp's, Terraform, and Docker when we are into the release phase. When we go to deployment, so when we deploy it, there is a there will be a difference between the production environment and the development environment. So here we need to cautiously define the security concerns, and we have to more carefully look at the violations, any security vulnerabilities that are happened, or anything is improperly configured at infrastructure level. So when we deploy it, security at the infrastructure level is highly important. So we have like security monkey tool, chose monkey tool. So either we can get use of it. So more in operations level phase, we have these activities being done like system scaling, load balancing, and backup. So as we discussed earlier, so if we have any identified any security level issues and we need to go for a patch to it, we will be doing those kind of operations here. And coming to monitor phase, it's like similarly, we will monitor the network. We will monitor every area, any personal activities that are violating the security policies, and we will do periodical security scan, and we will monitor, and we will revert the security alarms and alerts and everything. So monitoring phase, we have RASP, we have, and information security continuous monitoring we have. So the monitoring part is very crucial when it comes to security. So this is a very known and sample approach that we have for Azure. So here, I mean, this covers all the phases of DevSecOps and how this is implemented, and what tools or what activities, what policies that helps us to have this security enabled at all the phases. So this is very simple and sample approach. Here the Azure Active Directory, Azure AD is there, right? That is the identity provider, so that the commit hand can be enabled with the extra security. So once the developers commit to the GitHub Enterprise driven by the workers and bugs are tracked with Azure boards. So any bugs or any issues that arise that are tracked in Azure boards. So here we have in GitHub like GitHub Open Source Security and GitHub Advanced Security. So these two checks are done, and that is being reported in Azure boards. And when we go to Azure pipelines, these are to Terraform, and it's stored in Terraform. So when it comes to
sorry to interrupt, there is some disturbance in the line. Would you be able to kind of come closer to the laptop or something? I don't know if it's just me, but there's some disturbance for sure.
Sorry?
Yeah, now I think it is clear.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So, and after at container registry, we just develop the images and we store it. And when we release we at Azure Kubernetes service, we have the key wallet, which is an internal authorization mechanism which provides the security at Azure Kubernetes services, and where it actually enables the security policies. As we discussed, we need to have our own security policies, and that particular security policy, Azure policy, is implemented at Kubernetes services and container registry. So we have the set of predefined security policies that will be implemented, and will be checked all the policies are properly accommodated, and there are no violations to the Azure policy.
Bhuvaneshwari, you might want to check your internet. I think there's a lot of voice disturbance.
Maybe can you disable the video for some time? It could be a bandwidth issue as well.
Okay. 1 second.
Sundar, meanwhile, do we want to engage the? I think there is Michael saying this is a perfect example.
I might just have a conversation from the previous session.
Oh, okay.
Should they able to hear me clearly now?
Yes, I think you're clear.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, okay. So here, Azure, as said, Azure Key Vault is used to securely inject the credentials into an application at the runtime. So, which is like we will abstract this environment, these application-related security credentials by different environment users, like developers. So this is highly helping us in embedding the security at uh, runtime. So end users can get authenticated with Azure AD. If you see here, any end user can have MFA as well as Azure AD. That will be like providing the more security way of accessing the application. So at continuous monitoring with Azure Monitor enables everyone to release pipelines to gate or rollback releases based on monitoring the data. So this Azure Monitor like ingest the security logs and can alert it. It can keep on, as we discussed at the last phase, it can monitor and alert if there are any security violations. It can also monitor the security logs, and it can go through the security logs and monitor and report any suspicious activities happening at the environment. So this is how the security is monitored with the help of Azure Monitor. So this is how the overall approach for this Azure works with DevSec approach. So these are all the key points that were explained with that particular image. So this is like explanation of that particular image. So that's how we can harvest the benefits of DevSecOps, and it actually builds the mindset to everyone is responsible for security with the goal of taking decision with respect to security. So when we have this particular approach, the word DevSec approach in mind, it's a responsibility of everyone to take care of res- uh, uh, security at their own face, so that the security is not kept at low priority, where it has to be equally treated with all other requirements at all the phases of software development life cycle, so that it enables everyone to think about the security aspect, which is security is the most uh, most concerning factor for everyone in current days world. So I think at this current situation, security is to be the main requirement for everyone who involves in the software development lifecycle. As we go everything in a digital mode, this has to be highly concentrated, and this has to be taken care. This can be practiced with more ease as we along with our existing CI/CD pipeline. There is no much additional efforts, no much researches or efforts were required. We can take it in ease and we can adapt it into our existing pipeline. Thank you.
Thanks, Bhuvaneshwari. Folks, if you have any questions, would you want to unmute yourself and ask? Okay, maybe I have a question on DevSecOps itself. So one of the key problem areas, right? I mean, in terms of testing, while we have the tools in a DevOps cycle to find out these security issues, what would be your recommendation to kind of shift left and then find these issues a lot earlier in the cycle, even before, or rather, if I can put it this way, what are the tenets that someone should follow, both in testing as well as in development, to avoid spilling over these bugs into the code so that it gets flagged later in a DevSecOps cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the question. So it's like we have to be open for we have to be very keen and open for security in our mind when we develop it, or either we test it. So when we develop it, as I said, we have to be do a code check. So our code has to designed developed in such a way that it have to be enabled for a security protect. It have to be a protective code. It shouldn't be vulnerable to any security threat. So that's how we have to be like we when we adapt this approach itself, when we start it from the planning phase itself, we will have that responsibility of adapting the security. So either it to be a developer building phase, or either it to be a testing phase who's actually a tester. So this when we yearly in the yearly cycle of software development itself, while building it itself, we have that security in our mind. So it is going to be like it's going to be a proactive measure, proactive activeness of about security. So that's how it helps at build phase as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for that. Are there any other questions? Okay, I think there's one from Deepthi. Any reports, graphs, numbers that establish better results in the delivery cycle when DevSecOps is implemented? Bhuvaneshwari,
Yeah, I'm there. Okay, so like in the approach we discussed is like the approach with Azure. So in this approach we have this Azure monitor. So where we will get all the reports along with the required uh, metrics. Like this Azure monitor will give us a graphical representation where we have what particular vertical is having what amount of threat we have. So as I have not I don't have the graphs now, so I couldn't share the graph since I was looking to share this as my area of interest, so I couldn't have the graph now to show Deepthi.
That's okay, Bhuvanesh. And basically, I wanted to know if there is any established results that, DevSecOps is a better tool.
Okay.
we have a couple of more minutes. Maybe we'll take one more question. How to introduce security test aspect when team is new to it? This is from Jay.
Okay. When the team is like whether it is going to be a development team or uh, maybe he thinks that it's to be a development team.
I think it's in the context of testing.
Okay. So how in a testing world also we have different types of testings. We do different approaches. We follow different approaches come in every day as a new. So we as a testers, we put ourselves forward to learn that approach and we adapt it. Either it to be an approach or either it to be a tool, we adapt it. So same way we will get that approach. And when it comes to security, we have security testing tool itself. So in that case, a security testing team is already enabled with the requirements, knowledge, and availability of tools. Everything were enabled to them. So it's good. There won't be any obstacles for them to pick up those techniques and approaches for them with respect to security.
Okay. I hope that I have answered your question, Jay. I think we are at the top of the hour. Thanks a lot, Bhuvaneshwari, for the wonderful session. It was pretty insightful with a number of tools that you had in your presentation. I'm sure it's going to be very useful for anybody who wants to jumpstart their career as well as maybe their DevSecOps process. So this is a very useful session indeed. So thanks a lot for joining in this afternoon and giving us a wonderful session.
Yeah. Thank you for me giving me this opportunity where I can discuss about my interest and about my aspiration and everything. Thanks everyone.
Most
Thanks for the support.